What's going on, people? We are back with another vid. As you can see, I'm in my loungewear. I was streaming on Twitch. Mr. underscore MGLD. I was on there streaming. Now I'm on here putting more content out. As you can see, it's cold, so I'm in my relaxed gear. But this is about Tottenham. We are pretty much halfway through the season, if not past that. So I'm on here to now do a midway season review from obviously about the players. There we go. We have at the club, obviously we've lost Dyer, we've lost Kane, and some fringe players maybe, who knows. But this video is going to be about the players we got left in our ranks, where I rank them, and I'm going to give them their overall ranking for the season thus far. Obviously, it's only halfway, so it could always go up, it can go down. There's still a chance for it to swing either way. The pendulum can go anyway, but this is just for the first part of the season. Obviously, at the end of the season, where the pendulum will be finished, and if we win the cup or whatever the case, which is, we've only got one cup left really, the FA Cup, and if we beat City, then I do think we got a good chance, but we got to get through there first. But you know, I'm gonna go through the squad, and then including the ones that were injured like Madison and all that. We're gonna go through all of them, give them a review thus far, and at the end of the season we'll do another review and see you know, if they've gone the same or they've gone up or they've gone down, whatever. But we will be doing that, and there will be other videos on this channel, not just about Tottenham. Everton are facing FFP along with Nottingham Forest. Man City's got their trial coming up. They're not releasing the date, but that's coming up as well. So there's definitely going to be some more content coming out on this channel. So make sure you hit that like, hit the subscribe, turn the bell on. That way you get the notifications when the video lands. But what's the time? Okay, I got a bit of time. It's cold as hell. It was freezing this morning when I was streaming. I'm gonna be honest. I've done about 3 hours stream, about 3.5 hours stream. Now I've done a bit of cleaning. Now I'm here to do this. So we're always working. That's what I'm saying. But let's get right to it. I don't want this to be long because I can't do it straight from YouTube. I have to record it, then go to the studio, upload, then process. So it's a whole lot of palaver. So let's just get right to it. Starting in goal, of course, Hugo Lloris. I'm not gonna even bother, he hasn't played. So we're gonna go with Vicario. We're gonna start from the back, right to the front. In goal, Vicario. For me, probably definitely one of the players of the season for us. His performance against Chelsea, even though it was 4-1, we had 9 men. He pulled off some big saves. It could have been more than that. It could have been 8, 9s because we were getting exposed with Udogie sent off and Romero sent off as well. Our back line brought on Dyer, no pace, no nothing. We had no Van der Ven went off, Madison went off. It was a horrible game, but he put some big saves, and obviously poor finishing from Chelsea and positioning with offsides and whatever the case. That's the game all the time I've seen Tottenham play a game, lose 4-1 and receive a standing ovation. Them players played with they gave everything that day, and that's all you ask for. You leave everything on that pitch, and they did it that day. And Vicario, for me, definitely one of our players of the season thus far. He's put some big saves in some games. That's the only game that comes to mind that I can think of, but there's definitely been more. I just can't remember the opposition, but he's definitely bailed us out. I think even like Sheffield United and Bournemouth and games like that, he saved us. So yeah, definitely up there. And for his season, I'm going to give Vicario an 8 thus far for the season. He's been pretty much consistent. He comes out, he commands, he grabs the ball, relieves the pressure when he needs to, makes saves when he needs to, pushes it where he should for the most part. So I'm going to give Vicario 8 out of 10 for the season thus far. Well done. It's his first season. We were a little bit worried that maybe he'd be, but he's coming and he's done a job. High save percentages, higher than like Edison and all them, man. So yeah, he definitely deserves that 8 out of 10 thus far. Next we go into the back line. We're going to start with Pedro Porro, of course. He's the main guy. Obviously, we will do like your Ben Davis and Royals and stuff, but they're going to come at the end, Højbjergs. We're going to start with the genuine starting 11, and then we go to the bench players. Pedro Porro is a tricky one because defensively he can be a little bit not great. There's times where he's made mistakes defensively when he should have probably won the ball, but didn't. I think Crystal Palace comes to mind when he should have won the header. He didn't. He misjudged it, and they got in and scored and made it a nervy game. But other than that, his deliveries and passing and attacking play has been pretty much top notch. Defensively, he's been decent. Not, I wouldn't say he's been oh my god, but there's times when he goes to sleep, and there's times that against Man United as well, more recent. But there's times when he's on job, and he definitely does his thing defensively. So with that, I will give Pedro 6. I'm gonna give him a 6 because there's times he's just poor. It gives the ball away, but there's times when he's amazing. So I think 6 is probably a fair result, not result, but a fair rating for him for the season thus far. Now we go to our centre backs, and we're gonna start with Morero. Romero is a good defender. Let's start with that. He's a good defender. He's a leader. He's goes into every challenge. Maybe sometimes people say too much, and I agree. Sometimes he goes too crazy with the tackles, and that's what gets him sent off, like against Chelsea and other times in his career that he's been sent off for Tottenham Hotspur. A lot of red cards he gets because he's so tenacious. He just wants to get in. Even if it's in a yellow card, he doesn't care. He will still go make tackles, and I think players know that if you get him on a yellow card, there's a good chance he can get sent off. The opposition know, but he doesn't gauge it, and he just doesn't care. He's just rash, and sometimes he takes too long on the ball. But when he does step into the midfield, he has got a pass on him. That's how we got our goal against Man United, that equaliser the other day. He came in midfield, whipped a nice pass in to Bentancur, I think it was, or Skip, and they passed it out to Werner, and then Bentancur with the finish. So it's a tricky one, but because he's been sent off and he can be a bit rash, but then he does sometimes come up for corners and he does kind of cause chaos, and he has scored this season, I believe. So I'm gonna give Romero 5 just for that. Next to him, Van de Ven. He came in against Brentford. He was not great against Brentford. He looked a little bit dodgy, a little shaky. It was his first game in the Premier League and obviously for us. So I think he was trying to adjust to the levels. Like, you don't have all the time you have in the German League. You came from Wolfsburg, you don't have all that time. In the Premier League, they're rushing you. Especially Brentford, they're going to press you. And, he was a bit shaky at the start, but as the game grew on, he kind of evolved and grew into the game and started to kind of pick it up. And he definitely improved in the latter parts of that game. But after that game, when you got that wake-up call, definitely much better for the season. The only thing, I can't give him really thing too high because he was out from November the 4th and he only just came back in the last week or so. So he's missed quite a bit of football as well. He only played from August to November. But in that time, you can see there's a player in there. He came back. He looked good. He came off with what looks like probably cramp. I'm hoping it's cramp anyway. And I've got to say, he's quick. Recovery pace. He's very good defensively. So, if I'm judging from the game against Brentford to his last game against Chelsea, before he got injured, of course, I would score him a 7 out of 10. Consistent, doesn't do anything that he don't need to do, clears his lines when he needs to, doesn't really piss about on the ball. And yeah, I think 7, obviously, because he was injured, so we can't really give him more than a 7. If he was there more, he could have been up there as one of the players. He could have probably got maybe a bit more. But I think 7 is probably fair for him. He's done well. I don't want to, because he got injured, kind of downgrade the stuff he's done, because he has done well. Next to him, Destiny Udogie. Udogie is a player who has a lot of promise. He's young. He's 21. So we need to bear that in mind. Going forward, he's quite good. Defensively, he's decent. But at times, he can be rash and go into tackles that he shouldn't go into. which is why he got sent off against Chelsea. He was on a yellow card, and he went into a tackle that he had no reason to go into and got sent off. But that's because he's young, he's quite raw, and still somewhat immature in a way. He needs to kind of mature, and once he does, I think he will be an absolute baller, and he won't be making those silly mistakes that he was making against Chelsea and whatever. So, obviously, I think he has scored a goal. I think he scored against Bournemouth or something. I don't know, but I'm sure he scored a goal this season. Should have more, because I remember he had a good chance and he didn't take it. But he's young, he's a good player. Going forward, he's quick, he's good on the attack. Defensively, he's okay. Done well against Garnacho on Sunday against United. So there's definitely a player in there. Once you get all of the coaching and get into mature as a player, I believe that he'll be a good asset for us. So, I will give him a 6. I can't give him more than a 6. Into the midfield, we go with Basuma. We'll go with Basuma. We won't do Bentancur because Bentancur was out injured as well. So we're going to do him with the fringe. So we're going to do Basuma and Sarr in our midfield. We're going to go with Kulu, Johnson, Richarlison, and Son. That's what we're going to do, then other players. So if you don't hear the players, don't panic. They are on my list. They're just going to be coming after the starting 11. So Basuma didn't look good under Conte. I think the kind of style and system they wanted to play under Conte doesn't suit Basuma. So he never got a look in. He was injured and not getting a look in. And just like, oh wow. I mean, he did come in, he didn't look great because it doesn't suit his style of play. In comes Ange, and it's like a phoenix. This guy is reborn. Totally different player than when we saw under Conte. And he's been looking good in that midfield. Taking the ball from defenders on the half turn, back towards the goal, turning, chunking, doing little shimmies, getting past, dropping the shoulder, getting past players, bringing into midfield with pace, and causing opposition midfields a problem. However, his disciplinary record is why I can't give him a high mark, because he's had 2 red cards. I believe he's sent off twice already this season against Luton for diving, and he was sent off again against Luton for a tackle which is a bit harsh, but his foot was over the ball. Even though the ball bounced, they don't really care about that. They don't lose common sense. So he's got another suspension. I think he's still got another 3 games or so to serve on the suspension because he's out on the Africa Cup of Nations. So he's a good player in that midfield. Him and Sarr do work together nicely because they got the engine. But again, his disciplinary record doesn't save him. So I can't give him more than a 5. He has to get a 5 because again, 2 red cards in the season already. We're in January, and he got these in December, and obviously the Christmas thing. Then he went away on break, and he's still gonna have to serve another 3 games or so suspension. So other than that, I can't give him more than a 5. But in that midfield, he's definitely looked better under Ange, and he definitely looks like a player reborn. So once he comes back, if he could sort out his discipline record, he might be able to improve from now until the end of the season. If he doesn't get no red cards and he keeps up that consistent performance, he might get a better score at the end of the season. But for right now, I can't give him more than a 5. Sarr, he came in young, hungry. He's quick, strong. He just glides through that midfield, and him and Basuma, they kind of complement each other. And he's really scored a goal against Man United. Can't really get bigger than that. The only thing his problem is trying to release the ball a bit quicker. Sometimes he holds the ball too long, or he will shoot when he should pass, or he has all the time in the world and he shoots and it's just poor. His decision making needs to be fixed. Once he sorts out his decision making, and but again, he's young as well. He's around 20, 21 as well. So once he sorts out that part of his game, there's definitely a player in there as well. And I'm just waiting to see Ange unlock him and him reach that next tier, because I do think there's definitely a player in there in Sarr. Again, he's 21. He reads the game well. He's strong, goes into tackles. he hasn't been sent off. He might get the odd yellow, but not that often. So his discipline record is definitely better than Basuma's. And we are definitely missing him in this while he's away on at the AFCON. So, I'm going to give Sarr, he's young as well. He's looked good. Doesn't really put in a bad game. He's usually decent, so I'm going to give him a 7 as well. He's done pretty good. And his age as well, taking that into account. Coming to the Premier League, different team system. Yeah, he's got to be acknowledged. You've got to put that into perspective as well. So I'm going to give him a 7 for Sarr. Kulu, usually number 10, usually on the wide, but we're going to do him as a number 10 here. Kulu for me he's a top player, let's be clear. He's a top winger in this Premier League. One of the best wingers in this league. For the fact that he can go on his left or right foot. The only problem and that what jars me with him is that even though he can go either way, he still tends to cut in onto his left and use his left. Now, if you're going to shoot, then I'm down with you cutting in on your left. We see Ribery do it. So if you're going to cut in onto your left and whip it, and Robin and them man there, I'm cool with that, especially Robin. They whip it in on that, boarding out. So if you're going to do that, step in, cut inside, drop the shoulder, and whip it into the far corner or top bins, then I'm with it. But if you're going to come in onto your left, then check back onto your right, go to the touch, check back to your left to cross it, now you're winding me up. Now you're trolling me. And now you're doing way too much and making it too complicated. And that's how he ends up losing the ball and giving it away, because he's overdoing it. Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, players of that, even Son, players of that nature that can go either way and they're unpredictable, they're hard to play against. And when they get the opportunity, they're whipping the ball in. Strong foot or weak foot. That you don't even know which is their strong or weak foot. I've seen Son hit the ball with his left foot, that's his weak foot, but you never know. Same with Harry Kane. Strong foot is his right, but hit with his left, just as dangerous. So, and with Bell, we've seen it. The left foot's strong, but with his right, he's still got a bit of a wand on his right. So, when you have that ability to go either way, you got to take advantage. When you see people like Saka, Anthony, Martinelli, players that are so one-footed, they can only go with Martinelli goes with his right, and Saka can only go with his left, and same with Anthony. No right foot, Anthony, at all. So when you see him on FIFA whipping crosses on his right foot, it's fake. He cannot do that in real life. So they're gassing him in FIFA. He cannot do that. But that's the only thing for me with Kulu. He can play out there, but I think he plays better in the 10, because with the 10, he can kind of not have to worry about really using his weak foot. He can just kind of go into that space, pick pockets, pass there, put a cross from there, pass it out wide and make them, he can do something else that don't involve him having to think and overthink it, and, the chance ends up going away. So, Kulu's had a good season. He scored some goals, he's got some assists, he's looked good in the 10, and he's looked good out on that right-hand side. So, he's definitely been up there one of the good players of the season. Against Brighton, he was poor, I'm going to be honest. But other than that, he doesn't really generally put in really horrific performances. Sometimes he do. Definitely last season, but this season thus far, he's not really been that bad. So I will give Kulu a 7 as well. Going to the right-hand side, we have Brennan Johnson. And this is probably going to be one of the worst ratings thus far. He's come from Nottingham Forest, I get it. Come to a different team, bigger club. Obviously, in terms of now, Nottingham Forest are a big club, but in terms of where they are right now, Tottenham definitely the bigger of the two. But he's coming to the team, and to be fair, he's coming to a team with a new manager when it's new for everybody. So everyone's new to Ange. It's not just him, it's everybody that's new to this regime. Cool. He's on that right-hand side. We spent 50 million on him. And I don't see how we spend that money on him. For me, personally, he's about a 15, 20 million pound player. 50 million, no. Now, maybe he just signed a new deal recently, which is why it costs so much. Because other than that, I don't see a reason why anyone would spend that money on him. He doesn't warrant that figure. Now, of course, it's not his fault that he's got that kind of fee, so you've got to be fair. But at the end of the day, we've invested a lot of money. So us as the fans want to see something. And we're not seeing it. Now, there's a player in there. Don't get me wrong. You can see there's a player in there. He's still young as well. He's 20, 21 as well. So we've got a lot of young players in the team. But out of the young players in the team, he's got to be the worst one in the team in terms of performance. He's in the final third, he's just not decisive in it. Like, when it comes to that final ball, that final pass or shot, he's just not good in it. He don't score, he'll miss the target. If he's got a pass that he should do, he can't reach the pass. He's got a couple of assists for Son and that. He has got a goal. He got a goal against Wolves, I believe. But it's not enough. For 50 million, you've got to get more than 1 assist and 1 goal. I need to see a lot more. He had a chance against Burnley, he should have scored. He had time to take a touch and shoot, he didn't. He hit right the keeper. But for me, he's one of the underperformers in this team, and he is like, it's like with him in the team, it's like playing with 10 men, because he doesn't offer anything. He gets the ball, he's sloppy, sometimes he's got a poor first touch, he's just not good enough for what we need right now. So for me, I think he's only in the team because Maddison and that's injured. I think once Maddison's fit, he's back in. Once Son's back, he's back in, and Johnson goes to the bench. Because for me, I think Brian Gill offers probably a bit more than Brennan Johnson. In my opinion, his final product's not good either, but at least he can kind of, do something. He might get a nice pass, might do a bit of skill and release someone on the counter. He might do something, but he don't play as much as Brennan Johnson. So you can kind of forgive sometimes his lack of, finishing or whatever the case. He don't play that much minutes. But for me, Johnson, for the minutes he plays and the output we're getting, the ratio is not adding up and the math is not mathing. He needs to step it up big time, because if he plays that again next season, he won't last long. Whether it's under Ange, if you can't ball out under Ange, you're not gonna ball out at all. So I'm gonna give him a 4 for this season, and obviously, thus far, the season's not done yet. It ends in May. He can always turn it around and have a good second part, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, this is the Johnson I was looking for. But for right now, I'm gonna give him a 4, and I'm only giving him a 4 because he got an assist for Son and he scored a goal. If he didn't get any of those things, it would probably be around a 3. So, he needs to step his game up a lot more than anybody in that team, because he's the only one that doesn't perform to the level of everybody else and the level that we expect. It's him, and sometimes he lasts a lot longer than he should on the pitch. He should be taken off at halftime at some games. He's that poor. But when you look at the bench, there's no one to bring on, so he has to stay on. So that's the only saving grace. If we had another player that could play there, he'll be out of there. Trust and believe. And when Maddison comes back, he'll be out because Kulu will be on that side, and he's not getting ahead of Kulu ever. So he's had the opportunity, he had his audition, and he's not taking it well. He's failed it. So for me, Johnson 4. Son, good season. He's got about 10 goals or so this season already. They thought without Harry Kane he might suffer and struggle. He's not. He's taken it very well. He's taken it in his stride. He's the captain, and he's. Now, obviously, when you see Son, he's not going to be like the leader of the group and one that's like, come on, and he does do all this. But when you see him, he's not. I don't think he's that kind of captain like Romero or someone like this. I think Son is just the captain because everyone likes him and everyone respects him. That is why he's the captain. He's not going to be like Roy Keane and Vieira and start screaming and shouting and all that shit. He's not going to do that. He's just respected and liked by the players, so it just makes sense to make him the captain. Maddison's a captain, I don't know how, but he is. Moreira's a captain, and I do get it. A vice captain, I get it. But Son, he's had a good season. Again, he's at the Asian Cup. But before he went, he was definitely cooking. Some games he would be like a passenger. Some games he'll be on fire. But, he's got around 10 goals. He's had a decent season. He's got assists. He's He's definitely looked good. So you have to give him a 7. I would give him a 7 out of 10. Son, thus far for the season. He's got some good goals, putting some good performances. And it's not just the goals. Like, listen, he plays as a number 9 for the most part, but sometimes he will interchange from the left and the false 9, right? But I see him at the back, defending, winning the ball on the edge of his box, breaking out. He's defending. You don't really see much players in the doing defensive work. If you look at Arsenal, their wingers don't defend. Saka and the man don't really defend like that. You know what I mean? They will leave them kind of their right backs vulnerable. But you got Son busting his ass to get back to defend, and that's what I want to see him getting in tackles and to helping his team out as the leader and the captain. So I would give Son a 7 for that. And last in the 11, we're going with Richarlison, and he started off not so great. I'll be honest. It was like, oh my God, this guy's so frustrating because there's so much talent in there. He just works on his finishing and his composure, his final pass or shot. He'll be so much better. He could be so much more clinical. He could score so many more goals than he does. But because he doesn't, he kind of sometimes snaps at it and whatever. So he can be frustrating. But the back end of the year, he's on like, what, 6 and 6 on that in terms of goals. And this is what we want. He's scoring goals. He's looking happier. He's definitely a bit more dangerous in the box. He had a goal against Brighton, but it was ruled out. But he looked good in that game before he was taken off. He shouldn't have come off that game. The game just gone against United. He looked good. He's out there. He's our attacker. He's in the defence, in our area, in our box, our part of the pitch. And he's defending at the back as well, helping his defenders, midfielders out as well, winning the ball, winning free kicks. And that's what you want, just to take the pace out of the game. And that's all you want from your players, to leave everything on that pitch. If you're putting on that badge, you better fight for it or take that shirt off. It might be too heavy. It might be made of lead and you can't handle that weight. Get that shit off. But he's come in, and even though he doesn't always score, he does offer something where, you know, he'll hold the ball, he can bring players in, he might win you a free kick, he's going to defend, and, you know, he can get assists and whatever. So he does offer, and again, last couple of months, he's definitely looked good. And, you know, he's been tough for him. He came out with his mental, saying his mental was a bit crazy because he wasn't scoring for club and country. He was going through a rough patch. And it happens. Sometimes strikers don't score. It happens. So, you know, he's come in, and once he scored, he's kind of found his mojo. And, you know, you've got to respect it and appreciate what he's come through. I'm going to give him a 6. I'm not giving him more than a 6. I'm going to give him a 6. I think 6 is fair for Richarlison. He works hard. Sometimes he can just be passenger, but I think 6 for him is a good fair result. Now we go to the other players. We start with Emerson Royal. Not really featured that much this season, but when he's come in centre back or wherever he may play, he's done a good job. Can't really complain. Usually he's poor, but under Andy's looked good defensively, and that's the thing with him. He's always been good defensively, but going forward, he's just not good. But now, recently, I think he scored against Brentford. Like, he's been adding goals a bit to his game, like towards the end of last season and whatever the case. So, I think a 5 is probably fair for Emerson Royal. He doesn't pay that much, but when he does, he definitely does a job. He comes in, he defends, he does weird things, like he has like a little skill, but he was just pass it. I don't know what he's doing. But I think a 5 is a fair result, a fair rating for my guy Emerson Royal. Because when he comes in as centre back or wherever he plays, he does a job. He comes in for the last few minutes, he comes and does a job. Up to speed, quick. Doesn't usually do anything too crazy. Sometimes he might give away the odd throw in that he doesn't need to, unforced. But other than that, he's pretty solid. So I will give him a 5. He's not really paid that much to give him more higher than that. I'll give him a 5. Ben Davis, again, comes in, does a job. Whether he's playing as left back, centre back, you know what you're going to get at Ben Davis. He's going to throw his whole body on the line for the team with blocks and tackles and whatever. He's a solid player, and even though he's getting on, he's been in the club for a long time. He's been a good servant for this club, and they should give him a decent send-off when he leaves. I expect them to give him a decent send-off and not be no fuckery. But when he's coming, he's done good. I remember he's putting blocks, even against Burnley in the cup, body on the line. Ben Davis 7 for me. When he comes in, always he's like James Milner. He might not do anything that's pretty, but when he comes in, you're gonna know he's there, and he always puts in the shift. He doesn't usually put in less than a 6 out of 10. It's rare that he put a 6 out of 10. But this season, overall, when he's coming, solid. I've got to give him a 7 out of 10 easily, no brainer. Højbjerg, for me, no, he needs to leave. It looks like he's ready to leave. Looks like he wanted to leave before the season started, but it didn't come into fruition, so he's still here, and it looks like he's going through the motions, and don't really want to play like that in the ranks. He's not a bad player, but I think his time's just up. He needs to move on. He comes in and he doesn't look good. He'll give the ball away. He holds onto the ball too long. When the pass is on, he doesn't take it. Just things like that that are just so annoying. Like, you're a midfielder. You win the ball. You need to move the ball and get it to someone that can score, or get to attacking players that are better than you in the attacking third who can make something happen. But you run and hold onto the ball too long, and then you get tackled. Then you go and give a foul away because you try and win it back. When you don't need to do that. If you release it earlier to the out wide, then you don't need to make that foul there. But you don't. And he does it a lot. Now, I think he's just probably tapped out and he's just over it, and he's already signed out of this. He's already checked out of the team. Mentally, he's like, yeah, I'm gone. I'm just here going through it, but because I'm getting paid, but really, I'm not really committed to it no more. I'm over it. But, he does go in tackles, and he does sometimes play decent as well. So he's definitely a 5. I'll give him a 5. He's not as bad as Johnson. I said Johnson's really a 3, but he got a 4 because of the assist and the goal, and it's his first season trying to be nice. But I give Højbjerg a 5. Skip, he comes in. Skip's young. He comes in. He's gonna do a job. He's gonna be at least a 6, 7 out of 10 every game. Doesn't do anything crazy. Does everything, all the simple things. He does them well. He knows his limit. He knows what he can and can't do. And he says, you know what I can do, I'm going to do it well, and just rely on that. And he works hard. He comes in, whipping that pass I see him doing against United. I'm like, wow, that's his best game I've seen. I've never seen him play like this in a while. So, he will come in, he will defend, he puts body on the line, putting good tackles, go in there, fierce. He's up for it. So, I'll give Skip I'll give him a 7. I think he's young, he's coming to the team. Obviously he was there last season, but this season is a different type of football, which I thought he would struggle with. It's a little bit quicker, but he's adapted, and I've seen him moving the ball a lot quicker than he used to, and not holding on to it as long. So, you gotta give credit where it's due. I would give him a 7. I think he's been pretty decent for us. Some people might say otherwise. They might say, no, that's too high. But I think 7 is fair. I think he's done good. And I think if we kind of take into account that, the kind of player he is and the setup we're in now, he's adjusted and he's decent. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a 7 out of 10 for the season because, as I said, what he does well, he pretty much does it. And he does it well pretty much all the time, consistently. You know what I mean? Doesn't overdo it, doesn't make it too complicated. And as I said, I've seen him whipping the ball a lot quicker now than he used to. So I think it's only right I give him a 7. The Celso injured a lot, but when he came in against City, that game against City, we got a draw. He was sensational. Got a goal and an assist. Did he get an assist as well? Did he definitely got a goal? But the thing with the Celso that's annoying to me is he's a good player, but he's always injured, or you come in and he doesn't really make himself counted. He came in against the Fulham game in the cup where we got knocked out, and he didn't make himself counted. He kind of put in a poor audition that was like, you know what, that's your audition, mate. Pff, forget it, you ain't getting this team. But he's come in recently, last month, and he's looked good. But obviously this is over the whole season, so we can't just go by the month. But last month or so, he's definitely looked a lot better. Maybe month or two, he's definitely looked a lot better. And you can kind of see the players against Bournemouth, he was balling out. Like, you just see there's a player in there. He's got a good pass. If you put him in the right system that suits him and his style of play, because he's not that quick, you get him the ball and he can kind of drop the shoulder, look up and whip a pass, he's gonna ball out. I think he created a second goal against Bournemouth or something. I can't remember, but he's been decent the last couple of months, but can't give him nothing too high. I will give him a 6. Am I missing anybody? Brian Gill. I forgot. Oh, Bentancur. Should I even mark Bentancur? He's not really played though, as he came back, then he got injured, then he came back. It was like, I'll mark him anyway. I'll give him a little quick mark. Brian Gill, decent player on the ball, silky on the ball, nice feet, quick. Final product that's not good enough, and it's been like that since he's come here. He's not worked on his shooting or finishing or passing. It's always not good enough. I'm not gonna mark Werner. So they paid 1 game. It's been there a couple of weeks. If that, it's not worth it. No, like a week or so. Nah, it's cool. At the end of the season, yes, but now, no. But Brian Gill, no, he's a good player. I just don't know if he's suited for the Premier League. It's a bit too physical. Although sometimes I see him, I'm like, oh, he's kind of got a bit stronger. But, overall, it's just not his bag, innit? And, the Premier League is not the La Liga. I think in the La Liga, the German league and places like that, maybe the French league, he'll ball out. But in the Premier League, it's too physical with these teams that be pressing like that. And, yeah, he can't really cope. But he's not had a bad season. He's looked decent. If he just work on his final ball and his shooting, he could have definitely upped the ante his level. But because of that, I'm gonna give him a 5. And last of all, Bentancur, no one else to really mark. Bentancur's been injured. He came back against Villa, looked good. He got injured. Now he's come back again. And I don't really think it's fair to really mark him. He was out for a while. He only came back in like October, September. And he got injured and he's just come back again because we have no players. But what I will say, I'm not going to probably mark him. But what I will say is he came in and when he came against Villa, he looked good before he got injured. Once he came off, he was in trouble. And I think we went to lose that game. Did we lose that game? Or draw? I think we lost? Can't remember. But against Man United, pulled all the strings. He was brilliant. And he just missed man of the match for me. He got man of the match from Sky Sports. But for me, I give it to Pedro. But yeah, he is a baller. Make no mistake. With Maddison in the team. Oh, I forgot Maddison. I've got to do Maddison. With Maddison and, him, I think he could play better with Maddison. I say, the thing is, you're probably not going to drop, you have to drop Sarr or you have to drop Basuma for when Maddison comes back. And Bentancur's, I would drop, personally, I will probably drop, he's probably going to drop Sarr because he's young, but really and truly, I would probably drop Basuma because his disciplinary record is not good and he has to be made accountable. So I'll say, no, Sarr's paid the better out of the two. If we got to choose, he's paid better, been more consistent, I'm going to go with Sarr. So, sorry, Basuma, you drop out, Bentancur comes in, obviously Maddison in the 10. But, you know what you get in Bentancur. He can pass the ball, he's got a good shot on him, he's good in the air, you just know. So, he's only paid a bit. I'm not going to mark him because it wouldn't be fair. But, if I was going to be one of those that's going to mark him, this is what I've seen, be crazy, but I would give him probably a 6 on what I've seen, those little cameos he's made. Probably a 6 I would have gave him because he's not played much football, but that's how good he's been when he's been in. But in this case, I'm going to put not applicable, but if I was to mark him, that's what he would have got. And last but not least, Maddison, because I did forget about you, sorry Crow. Not been like 39 minutes, it's gone so quick. But Maddison, again, he came in, got some nice assists, got some goals, putting some decent crosses at times and set plays. But again, he got injured when Van der Ven got injured around November the 4th, I think it was, we played Chelsea, and he's not played since. Even now, he's not come back yet. Van der Ven's back. I think he's already come back to training just this week, I believe, Maddison. He should be in contention to play Man City. He should be in contention for it next week, Friday. And hopefully he comes in hungry and ready to pick up where he left off. But yeah, let's be clear, Maddison's a baller. 40 million is an absolute bargain for a player like that. The only thing with him is 26 and he's always injured. But when he's on song and in tune, yeah, he's unplayable, and he's a good asset to have in that midfield because he can take it on the turn. He's got a little bit of pace, good passing range, and you know, we needed to break through the lines, and we have missed that a bit in certain games, like the Man United game for sure. We missed that, and against Burnley we definitely missed that. So you know, we look forward to him coming back. But again, if I'm judging him from August to November the 4th, when he got injured, he's got a few goals and he's definitely looked good in that. You know, he's made some big chances as well. He's done well. I will give Maddison a 7. He's definitely looked good in that team. He's sat in well. He's just his first season at the club. But again, everyone's kind of, it's a reset for everybody. It's new manager, new style of play. So even though he's new to the club, it's not like everyone else is trying to catch up to speed. He's trying to catch up to speed. Everyone's all in the same thing. We're all trying to learn this new style of football, new brand of football for everybody. And, you know, he's taken to it well. Considering that Leicester don't really play like how we're playing. But they did probably back when they won the league in, what, 2017 or whenever it was, 16, 17? They definitely, but they were definitely more counter-attack. Didn't really press a bit, but they're definitely more about the counter-attack. Leicester, that was their thing. Hardly any of the ball ran. I think they had about 30 possession overall for the season, about 30%, and they won the league. So they were definitely moving off counter-attack, and you know, he was definitely a part of that. So I would give Maddison a 7, and you know, he's back, thank God, we need him. And I think for the rest of the season, the goal has to be top 4, and FA Cup is all we got left. So I'm gonna say you've got nothing to lose. You played the FA Cup, you don't have a game to the following week. We got Man City, you got to put your strongest team available out for that game, because you know, Man City's got the lead, they've got the Champions League, so they might take the foot off the gas, might, not guaranteed, because they are at the League Cup as well, but they are in the, as I said, they've got the League, FA Cup, and the Champions League, so they might want to go all out. So we got to match that. We're at home, and we do have a good record against them at home, so we got to kind of carry that forward. And if we do, and we win that, I think we got a good chance to win it, because it's Man United in there. They don't look great. Chelsea, nah. You know what I mean? So Arsenal's not in there. I think Liverpool might be in there still, actually. Yeah, they are, because they beat Arsenal, didn't they? So again, if you you don't want to play Man City yet, but at the same time, if you knock them out, then there's one less team to worry about that can potentially, and then makes your chances a little bit, increase your chances a little bit. So if we take that seriously and we win it, then yeah. But top 4 is a must, and if we can win that FA Cup, I would definitely love the FA Cup. If it's between FA Cup and top 4, I'm taking the FA Cup all day. Forget a top 4, but you give me FA Cup, I'm taking it all day, because we need a trophy. And I think if we get a trophy, that would kind of galvanize and kind of motivate these men to perform. So, you know, I think we'll take the trophy with the top 4. But if not, then the top 4 is a must. So he gets knocked out, get that top 4. You can get both, ideally, the FA Cup and the top 4 I would definitely want. But if you had to choose one, they say, look, don't be greedy. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Pick one. I'm taking the cup. But listen, you lot come this far, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that bell on, I just said at the start, hit the like, leave the comments, I will read them, I can see them. And that is the Tottenham mid-season report. Again, we got until May, so another 5 months. Well, not really 5, it's probably about 4, really, now, because we're halfway, pretty much, so we're halfway through the month. So yeah, it's probably about 4 months and a bit, let's be honest. So, you know, we'll see where we're at in come June, well, May, and then we'll do another video and see who's stayed the same, who's dipped, and who's gone up. we shall see. But listen, I'm gonna get out of here. You don't enjoy your weekend, and again, there will be some more content on this channel, not Tottenham based, but it'll be about other teams and stuff as well. But we're waiting for this Everton case to play out, and then once that plays out, we'll take it from there. But until the next video, people, enjoy, and I'm out. Peace.